Welcome to Survivor NSFW. Holy shit, my webcam. Hold on a second, Jonny Fairplay. Oh my God. There we go. We are here live. Zack Hacker, myself, Cincinnati, Ohio, my backyard, my patio. We just watched episode 6, Labor of Love. Jonny Fairplay, you're in Virginia in your home studio. How are you doing, my friend?
I feel left out. I think next week we got Marcus taking Kristy perhaps for a Cincinnati three-way, and I feel like I missed out on mine tonight. Peek behind the curtain for those of you that don't know, a Cincinnati three-way is spaghetti, noodles, chili, and cheese. So get your minds out of the gutter.
That's right.
Skyline, baby.
That's right. We're all about the sky. And it's a lot of my friends that come here from out of town. Hey, where can we go that's something different to eat? Skyline chili. And then there's Gold Star. There's a battle between some people like Gold Star, some people like Skyline. Yeah. I am a Skyline fan. Opposed, like Gold Star is good, but Skyline is better, in my opinion.
I think everyone that has taste buds is.
Yeah, that's how you find out who loves America.
Yeah,
Skyline.
Well, it's kind of like Beatles and Elvis.
Oh,
like anyone that says Elvis, I'm like, ooh, well, I can find other friends. It's okay.
but Jonny, it's a beautiful night here. Zack came over. We've had some adult beverages. It's probably I don't know, 60 degrees on my patio. We've had a great time, man. We worked on some Perplexers puzzles prior to the show. A little plug there.
And it turns out I thought I was a puzzle nerd. No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Did you get whooped by the kids?
No, I got a basement full of kids, Fairplay, watching Hunger Games, and I saw them through the bay window bringing a duffel bag full of candy down in my basement. So I guess candy is like the fucking IPAs that we're having out here in the PBR. But another great episode, episode 6, Labor of Love. Jonny Fairplay, you're a dad. I'm a dad. We see the show start off with these fake crying Bluetooth babies.
Yeah. Well, it start at 2:27 a.m. with Kristy. Mm-hmm. She was the first victim, and they do have the Bluetooth bracelets. And Kristy did fine. Cute little PJ outfit.
Because her makeup was done, her hair was done. It was like she had no idea that alarm was coming.
Yeah, she just got right out of bed looking like America's Next Top Model.
Well, maybe she is. Yeah. So that's what you look for in marrying material. So guys, take notice. So not so much the case on it. I thought the guys had a rager.
Yeah, dude. I was like, did Jason come back to the house and the house is trashed?
Dude.
And Trent was more than willing to help, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So the house is trashed. We go to the scene. I mean, there's these fake babies crying. There's shit everywhere. It's chaotic.
Did you notice Marcus tripping as he left?
Oh yeah.
Left the bed in panic.
Yes. I mean, it's one of those things, man, that I understand that they're trying to simulate the chaos it is when you have a kid, right? You have normal responsibilities, etc. However, I think it's there's no possible way that you can really simulate what it's like to have a kid. I mean, for my wife and I, if I had to go clean the house or go cut the grass, I would say, Tessa, here's the baby. I'm going to go do this while you're doing this, right? So to multitask with a baby in a little carrier, or you got Trent doing cartwheels and shit like that. I feel like it's not the most accurate way that parenting is. I mean, we were talking about this before the show. You go through childbirth classes. Oh, this is the Bradley method. This is what it's like for delivery. All that shit goes out the window when you see a fucking baby's head popping out of a vagina cavity, right? You're like, this is some alien ass shit. I see this screaming face.
I didn't look. You look.
I looked and I'm like, I have it on film. Fairplay. Maybe our patrons for Survivor NSFW can get a peek behind the curtain because I have the graphic footage.
I would like to see. I'd like to see some of that footage. Not.
No, we don't.
How early did you start that footage?
Dude, I have my first child. I have the graphic footage, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, like, how early in the labor? Like, that's
pretty early.
Conception footage.
Well, I probably had that too, but what I'm saying is,
I could stop there.
Like, put it this way:
Are you in any of that?
No, but listen, Johnny. If my son's like 28 years old and is like, man, I really want to see what it's like to be born, I could say, son, I have footage. If you really want to see your head popping out of your mommy's beaver hole, I have the footage.
Yeah.
It might traumatize you.
I think I have footage of Piper, but I didn't I think I did one of those sidearm deals.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's the most childbirth is the most surreal, graphic, emotional. I was crying like a fucking baby when I'm sobbing, crying of tears of happiness when my son was born, right? And it's these simulations can only go so far because when you really have a baby and you're sleep deprived and you're having to real life happens, you're so excited for this child to be born, right?
Yeah, 4 hours is not a simulation of having a kid. And I think Garry went home tonight because he didn't take it seriously. But I think Garry was just he said it because it's a doll.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fair to judge Garry. I think Garry, looking at him, could be a great dad.
Yeah,
right?
We saw with real kids. He got screwed out of a date to be with real kids and showed how awesome he was. And he's sitting there with a doll going, it's a fucking doll.
Yeah.
I got to say, that was hilarious, though, when he leaves the doll on the bed to go take a shower. Because, you almost think it's he doesn't give a shit about any of this. He doesn't care. But he, kind of tucks the doll in
did.
A little bit. He cared a little bit. If he just chucked the damn thing on the bed and took a shower, fine. But
for the record, there were many moments in which Piper and or Madeline were handed to me, and and something else is happening, and it's just okay, where is the safest place? And in middle of the bed, pillows around, just at 45 seconds.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a little peek behind the curtain, and I'm not trying to be too graphic here, but I'm being real, and that's why people love the Survivor NSFW podcast. So when you have a kid, there's very little time for husband and wife sexual interactions. So I literally have video footage of little tiny Ryder in a bassinet next to our bed at 3 months old in between breastfeeding sessions. Once, the vagina is all stitched up and ready to go again, right?
Did you request extra stitch?
I requested a couple extra stitches. That's correct.
Wow, good on you.
So, but what I'm saying is there's very few times when you have a kid, people don't realize you don't have the time for intimacy that you once had, the spontaneous shit. So there were times where, hey, the kid's on his back. He can't fucking roll over because he's only 2 months old, that you have to do your coital stimulation. You know what I'm saying?
Hashtag coital stimulation. That is what we're here for on Survivor NSFW.
But dude, the dudes are trying.
Hold on, Zach, are you rethinking this whole having a kid thing, hearing that 2 extra stitch possibility?
Oh, yeah. That sounds great.
Is that the deal breaker?
Doing it on a bed with a kid in a basket below. That's
what happens, guys. Sometimes you have to, when the kids are little, now my kids are older. So the kids are in the basement right now. If I said,
I hope they never hear this.
Yeah, they're not gonna, yeah. Oh, but God, please. Glory to God. Don't let my kids hear this podcast. But when their kids are older, you have other shit that you can do, but have grandma and grandpa watch them while you go do this, that, and the other. But when they're little, dude, it's such a gnarly experience. You have no sleep. You're tired as fuck and you're grumpy. And that's why, I mean, it's funny because when you leave the hospital, dude, they have these signs that say, never shake a baby. And I'm like, why the fuck would everyone like be worried about like, really, like, are you serious that people do that? But the fact of the matter is, some people can't handle a crying, freaking out child. It's the real deal. And this simulation kind of gives you like a fraction of what it's like to have a small child. Johnny, I mean, you're a dad. You know what it's like having two girls. Were your girls pretty well behaved, Johnny?
I got so lucky with both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
well,
really lucky.
My
like,
second son cried for a year straight.
I might have missed a little bit. So when Madeline was born, like her mom was there for like the first month. With me, and then she went to Michigan with her parents for a month.
Yeah,
she's a teacher, and she had the summer off, and we video chatted every day, but like, so there was a month that I missed, and that could have been bad. I missed that.
Yeah.
So, but prior to that, she wasn't bad, and when she got back, she wasn't bad. Piper was just super easy.
Yeah, right. So I'm in the same situation, dude. So we see these guys, Fairplay, having to take care of the babies while doing chores. We see Kyle and Stuart not doing shit as far as cleaning up. They're taking care of this fake baby while Garry, Marcus, and Trent are cleaning up like this, like completely trashed house, right?
Yeah. Well, Kyle and Stuart, neither one of them liked cleaning while taking care of the baby. And peek behind the curtain, neither did either of my baby mamas. They also did not like cleaning while and coincidentally, not with either one.
Well, that's a thing.
Yes.
We'll see if that happens with Kristy.
There you go.
With Kyle and Stuart not doing shit, Garry, Trent, and Marcus, they're pretty much doing everything, right? So they got these little fake baby slings, and they're like vacuuming and cleaning up sticky floors.
Yeah.
They're doing all the work, including all of the gymnastics that need done around the house.
Yes,
I started really negative on Trent. I was like, this guy's a dick. He's not taking anything seriously. Trent is my favorite human. And I know Marcus. Trent is my favorite human being on the show. He's fantastic.
Mine too. And
backyard. That's too good.
I think he's Marcus's favorite too.
Yeah.
Oh, Trent. I mean, I looked over at Tessa during this show and I said, Tessa, if you're Kristy, you're all in on Trent. The other guys are not even a factor at this point. Yeah. Trent's just a fun guy. Yeah. I love it. He's great television. He's fun. He also has a serious side. Yeah. And I think if you really were to put him in a situation for real as a dad, I think Trent would be a great, fun dad, Fairplay. I kind of think Trent would be a kind of dad like you or myself would be, right? It's like you're serious. You love your kids, but you like to have a good time.
Yeah, like Trent's not doing a cartwheel with a 2-month-old strapped to his chest.
No.
So I mean, like, so for him to get negative points for that, it's just like, okay, how about negative reality? Come on.
Yeah,
I have to say, for me, I had more negative points for Kristy. The fact that she actually honored Stuart and Kyle taking this shit seriously, rather than the guys who were being fun-loving and interesting during this time period.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's obviously...
I do have a question for both of you guys real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you notice that the babies kind of look like their dads.
Yeah.
I was hoping more than hope itself that Marcus's baby would look similar to the Biggie Smalls album cover. And
I would love that.
and then have Marcus, just go to Kristy and just be like, Kristy, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got some explaining to do. But dude,
it's just like, remember when we first started dating after the show and you had that trip to Los Angeles to go hang out with Stuart?
I know I might have won, but I think Stuart won.
Yeah, like I thought that would have been great, but that did not happen. But I was hoping for it.
Yes.
So, but while everything's while the cleaning is going on, while this whole exercise is taking place, you're noticing that Kyle and Stuart are remaining very calm, and Kristen and Kristy are noticing that as well. It's very easy to be calm when you're not fucking cleaning.
Yeah, right. Cleaning sucks.
Yeah.
And Kristy is looking at Stuart and how great he is with this fake kid.
Yeah.
I thought Marcus was doing very well at this.
I thought they all were doing I thought the guys. I think if you're really grading and like I think if Kristy and Kristen looked at not just the highlights shown to them, if they looked at the total footage, I think Trent and Marcus win that challenge.
Yeah, right.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Not with the little Bluetooth thing said.
No.
Yeah, but the babies do have Bluetooth, so they can keep score of like how many times the baby has cried, how many times you shook the baby, all kinds.
I think the shaking the baby for Marcus was when the baby was in the caboose thing and strapped to his chest, and he's scrubbing the fucking floor trying to get up fucking syrup.
Right,
doing fucking Stewart's work for him, and he's getting negative points every time.
Yeah, so Kyle ends up having the top score, and Kyle claims that, you know what, cleaning can wait. The baby is the number one priority, which I understand that, because if I'm in that situation, that's the game I'm going to be playing. Like, right? Like, the main thing is,
I want to clean house.
So if the baby is a month old, it's like, dude, like the toys can be picked up later. I need to take care of the child is number one.
But when later turns into 2 weeks, there's an issue.
Yeah, that's right.
I see Kyle as a 2-week cleanup guy.
But Kyle has a top score. Then Stuart is in second. Marcus is in third, and he says, he has a balance between the child and cleaning. Garry is in fourth place. She gets pissed about this and how Garry handled the kid. Like, I guess Garry took a shower, right? Said, but he's like, dude, this is a fake child. This is a doll. It's a doll.
Garry used logic, which I thought should not have been used against him, and it was.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that I don't understand. Is like, it annoyed me. Like, I was like, damn, dude, like Kristy is all bent out of shape about this, right? I'm like,
I think Kristen Davis is more bent out of shape than Kristy.
Well, but it fueled the fire.
I think it bled into Kristy.
It did. And Kristy got really pissed about it. And I thought, man, like, I don't really think that that's something to get that pissed about. I'm like, man, as a guy, if I'm watching this, if she's that anal over this exercise in being a dad with a fake baby, I don't know how stoked I would be on Kristy personally.
Maybe Kristy's not the one for you.
Apparently not.
Labor of Love season 2. Do not call Matt Bischoff.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's Alan from earlier this season. He's Labor of Love season 2.
Yeah. He's Labor of Love. So she's disappointed with Garry's lack of seriousness when it comes to this competition. Now, I thought moving to Trent is great TV. Trent is hilarious. He's doing cartwheels. And I thought that Trent could be a great just dad that is like serious about being a dad, but also like, you know what? Let's have some fun with this. What is your opinion on Trent?
I'm pro Trent. I think sizing them up, I feel she likes taller guys.
Yeah.
I mean, look who's left. And I think Trent's height is working against him. I think if Trent's a foot taller, that's probably her pick.
Gotcha. So you think like if you're on the show, you're immediately kicked out by your height alone?
Not necessarily. I mean,
is your mullet gonna,
it gets
moisture?
Add 6 inches.
Yeah.
Is
your mullet going to get some moisture happening?
Yeah. The mullet and the blue chew. I got 9 extra inches. We're good.
Oh yeah. Well, fuck yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one other thing we didn't note was Garry had an ultimate like cheese ball sheesh line of. He says he took one look at that baby and had an instant connection.
Yeah.
To its plastic eyes. I don't understand.
Stuart said that.
Stuart said that. Yeah.
Stuart said that. Yes. Yeah. That was creepy. And then like that the segment ends with either it ends there or at the beginning of that we have a little deal with Stuart's mom talking about his teddy bear and how he has his teddy bear everywhere. When he's on the road, he probably packs in a suitcase, and then we see that he's with it in the house, and it's all these the verbiage about the connection with the eyes it didn't even have it's fucking plastic eyes, and then the teddy bear. I feel like the narrative of Stuart is he's too good to be true.
Oh yeah.
So and he might win, and that might be the pick, and we can then second guess whether he's too good to be true. But I'm getting red flag city of this guy is too good to be true. It's a gimmick.
I think so too. When you're Trent and you bring snoots or you have snoots provided to you or whatever is going on there, that seems like a funny ploy. Yeah. When you're like, no, I'm actually so adorable. I bring a teddy bear that I travel with, and ooh, come on, man. Like you're a 40-year-old man. I don't actually.
As I said,
ever
look the connection in the eyes. It's like if I'm sitting at that couch. Whether Kristen Stewart, Kristy are there or not, I would look over and say, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah,
nothing personal. Just
right.
It's a fucking plastic baby.
Oh yeah. So we see Trent, Marcus, and Garry talking how BS it was that Kyle got props for pretty much doing nothing. It's like, how is this happening, dude? You know what I mean?
I do think Kyle's playing the game better than anyone else. Potentially, I think it feels obviously like a game to the other guys that he's doing. But.
You know what? I think he is and he isn't. I think she likes tall guys, so I think that makes Kyle and Stuart the front runners.
Yes,
just based on height alone. But fast forward to the last date with Kyle, we find out at the eliminations that date didn't end in a kiss.
Right.
So he ain't playing the game that great.
No, Marcus is getting macked on every episode. So.
in strategic macking.
That's right. So Marcus and Trent end up pulling Kristy aside. Marcus calls out Kyle on his behavior with the guys around there. And Kristy is kind of like, I don't feel like she takes their stuff that they're saying with a grain of salt. I think she's like offended by it almost. Trent agrees.
I don't think she wants to believe it.
Right.
I think there's a part of her that believes it because it's coming from Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things going on. Number one, we've seen almost every time anyone on this show has sold anyone else down the river, it has ended very poorly for the messenger. Yeah. Kristy is very quick to shoot the messenger from Angelo on down. Anyone who's presented information, it's gone very poorly for them. Not only that, the way that Trent and Marcus...
Hold on real quick. I think that's why Marcus brought Trent. He was just like, maybe coming from... Because I think he's noticed that she doesn't like hearing the bad news. So it's just like, maybe if two people say it, she's like... Oh, okay. This isn't one person, playing an individual game for themselves. This is two people on behalf of the whole.
That's a good observation. Hey, Trent, brother, you got a shirt that says trust? Wear that. We're walking over to talk to Kristy. I'm going to wear my cat tank top. It's going to come across as really sweet. And I mean, I don't want to shit on Marcus, but I think the biggest issue with that beyond selling out one of the other guys was that it looked weird. I don't know what they were doing. It was like midday. They're wearing a cat tank top and coming up and talking shit. And we've got Kyle ready to join us. Kyle Klinger from Labor of Love ready to join the podcast. Here he is.
Are you kidding me?
There he is. Kyle is connecting to audio. There he is.
What's up, guys?
Kyle, what is happening, my friend?
Man, thanks for having me. This is awesome. I watched the podcast that y'all did with Trent, and I'm a big fan. I gotta say.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Well, we just got through shitting on you. You must be well rested from not cleaning.
Yeah, I am. Actually, I feel great. Hands, no problem. I have to say, guys, I delegated really well.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we were saying, dude, that Marcus calls you out with Trent, and we see like Trent saying, "Man, she must really like tall, narcissistic dudes." What was your opinion, man? Like, you're obviously living in this house with these guys. I'm sure you have a bond. It's like when we play Survivor, right? It's like we know what goes on the island, but then when we watch the edit, sometimes things happen behind the scenes that we're like, fuck, man. Like, I was thinking these guys were cool with me. Like, watching back on the episode, what is your thought on all this shit?
To be honest, I thought that could have been a lot worse. You guys know how it is. Like, we were like a family in the house, and then it's like the family gets in a fight for 3 days, but it feels like 2 weeks, and and everybody, and all the pressure, everybody hates each other. And then, I didn't know that, that Trent and Marcus went over and talked to Kristy. I had no idea that happened, at the time. But I really thought, well, they're gonna figure this out. They're gonna figure out a way, to knock themselves up a notch or whatnot. So after it was over, I was like, well, that could have been a lot worse. I could deal with that, And with that said, like in interviews and such, we all talked about each other, so it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, and you're signing up for reality television. It's like,
Absolutely.
And we've all been on shows, and it's like, it's a game. I mean, this is a dating game that's like a lot of serious stakes are out there, to be a dad and to be
$1 million on Survivor is just as important as marriage and a baby, if not more. Let's be honest. I mean, think about how many marriages and babies you could have with $1 million.
How many you got, Johnny?
I didn't win, so
can't argue with that. Yeah.
So we were just talking before you jumped on about how it doesn't appear as though Kristy likes receiving bad news about other people. She hates the messenger when people rat out someone else. And we were thinking that potentially it was a strategy on Marcus's part to bring Trent along. So it's not me saying this about Kyle. It's me and Trent speaking on behalf of everyone left about Kyle. Do you think that was a purposely strategic move?
Absolutely. Marcus is a smart guy. He tried to bring everybody along. I know that he tried to get Garry and Stuart to go with him.
Oh, wow.
That was a whole part, So, and it's funny, the few days that was all happening, I could see him, I'm sure it was the same way on Survivor. You see conversations going on. You see Marcus go talk to Stuart, and you see Marcus go talk to Garry, and then he'd go talk to Trent, and then those guys would circle up, and I'm kind of just sitting there like, all right, well, I know what's happening,
Yeah. Did you know Marcus was on Survivor?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a huge Survivor fan.
Okay.
Right? And I've watched Marcus's season 2 or 3 times before the show. And the first day when we got back to the house after we all had to go in the cup, I walked up to Marcus. I was like, man, I know you from somewhere. And I thought he was a swimmer. And I was like, we've swam together. Like, I know you. I look at you and I'm like, I know this guy. And he knew that I recognized him for Survivor, but of course he wasn't going to let any of us know that, So I didn't know Marcus was on Survivor until the end. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody did. I don't think.
No, even we talked to and Kyle, I have to give you mad props. When we first started covering the show and we saw the bear scare, I was like, we got to find the dude in the bear suit. And I tweeted you, and you were very quick to tweet back to me and say, oh, it was Parker Aylesworth. And you hooked us up with Parker, and that's how we went down this rabbit hole. But when we even asked him, who was a producer on the show, and we told him, Marcus was on Survivor, he was like, what? We didn't even know that at all behind the scenes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really knew. that was one of the first questions I asked was like, who knew that Marcus was on Survivor? And
had you seen Matt Stryker's penis?
I have now.
Oh yeah. Jonny Fairplay was texting me about this. So I want to ask. So you're a big Survivor fan. Just since we're talking about it, do you know who Jonny Fairplay?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think of this asshole's mullet right now?
I think it's perfect. I mean, when you guys ask me how do I feel, like what's Jonny Fairplay going to look like? I'm like, he's going to have a mullet. It's going to be curly, and he's going to pull it up, and then he's going to ask me about Matt Stryker's.
Pepsi. If only you had known that, would you have called him Pepsi Can Matt?
Oh, that's yeah. What's funny is that every 15 guys in the house, every the jabs that went on, but Garry is one of the fun. Garry was the best at it. Gary's guy, he doesn't say a lot, but when he does, it really gets you. I'm sure that would have came out quite a bit.
So Kyle, this far into the game, the show, however you want to talk about it.
Yep.
What was your feelings toward Kristy? I mean, are you really falling for her? I know this is filmed over, several weeks or a couple months or whatever. And maybe you've had a date, but then there's some downtime. Where is your heart at on this episode toward Kristy?
No, that's a great question. Up until where we're at right now, I wasn't comfortable saying it because I felt like nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to believe me. But I think after the last date, and that date was quite a long time, at this point, they're giving us a lot more time with Kristy. I think that was the turning point for me. I felt like we had a physical attraction that was really clear from the beginning, which was exciting, and it made me was all in from day one. But I think the last date that they just showed with the aerial yoga, and we got to spend quite a bit of time together. And about 3 days before this, that was a big turning point for me. Yeah, I was all in. I was madly in love.
So were you jealous? Were you truly jealous? When we see a clip of Marcus goes and he's kissing her, and it looks like you and Stuart are looking out this window at it. At this point, you have true feelings for her. So is it are you bummed when you see other guys with your chick that you care about?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't like it one bit. And, it's not in my personality to pretend like I did, it was this weird feeling of your roommates you're dating the same girl as your roommates, and some of them you really like, and some of them they're just roommates,
Right.
And because of that, when different people went on dates, the dynamic was totally different. When Marcus went on a date, I felt watching Marcus kiss Kristy after he got done playing with kittens. And don't get me wrong, I love Marcus. It was a totally different feeling than Stuart going on a date, where I was like, that is the guy that can sweep her off her feet and
So Stuart, at this point, at this point in the show, do you think Stuart is your biggest competition?
No, I thought Marcus was, but I was a lot closer with Stuart. So it was weird, and it doesn't necessarily, it's not really logical either.
It's a mind fuck.
It totally is. 1 second, I just dropped my earbud. And the thing is I don't doubt that Marcus was all in and that he had real feelings for Kristy, and that, he just understood. He was playing chess when we were playing checkers. His time on Survivor, he knew the game. We were all lost. We were 13 guys in the house, other than Matt Stryker, that were still trying to figure out what an interview is, and and then how to make a connection with Kristy, thinking we were going to get all of this time on a date, but you don't realize you really don't get that much in the beginning. And Marcus knew, man, he was really playing chess from day one.
So you think that Marcus's experience with the confessional interviews and being on a television show gave him really like a step ahead. Like early on, like when the cameras start rolling, some of you guys may be like freaked out or whatever, but Marcus is kind of used to that. So he had early on like an advantage in that. But now that we're getting down to the wire, it's like, yeah, Marcus kind of knows how the game is going and the stakes are really high, but you know, maybe Marcus
looking back now, absolutely, like we were so flustered the first 5 days, and Marcus, it was just like another day at the beach for him, man. You know, like the way he steered conversations, asked guys questions to get the responses that he wanted, like, you know, like absolutely, you know, and I would have if I could have, you know, it took all of us a while to settle in, but I think that his you know, experience being on Survivor definitely, you know, helped him think rationally in times where it's really hard to do so. You know, like when you're nervous and scared and what is this going to be and how am I going to look? I think he was already over all that, you know?
Yeah, he was one move away from being at the end. I mean, like that, you know, he was there. I mean, like, you know, it wasn't like, you know, Marcus was, you know, on Survivors, you know, some, you know, second boot or something. You know, Marcus was there towards the end and towards the end because he was a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went back and watched it a couple times after.
Oh shit! So we see you, Kyle. Like you make a comment, like you were kind of seeing the date that he had with the kittens, and there's like a little interview with you, and I have a note here saying like, how can she be into Marcus? Like, were you really at that point? And this is all, you guys could all be friends. This is a show. It's a game, right? So the game is over. It's television. We're all one big happy family in reality television. But at that point, were you really like, man, like how could she really like this dude kind of thing?
No, yeah. Make no mistake about it. Marcus and I didn't get along from day one. You know,
why do you think that is, dude? Like, so you meet people in life, and like some people hit it off. Like when Jonny Fairplay came to my house in my backyard, like my friend Zach's here right now. Jonny and I instantly hit it off. So, like, did you kind of like clash with Marcus from the get-go?
You know, I think it would. And looking back now, I think it had a lot to do with how comfortable he was in the beginning, and he drove a lot of the conversations, and that's not my personality type. And I just didn't realize like what we were really doing. I think it was a bit of that. Sometimes you meet someone and maybe they remind you of somebody in the past. Like I couldn't tell you what it was, but I don't think Marcus liked me any more than I liked him from day one. And then also knowing that he was like, and from day one, we walked in the room and Stuart and I said, it's going to be me, you, Stuart, and Al. And Alan is who we thought, Marcus and Al. We thought, you know, Marcus was one of the biggest threats, and I think that also had a part of it as well.
You think basically from the beginning, you and Marcus potentially size each other up as like this is my number one competition. Yep. So you know, and then why do I need to be friends with my number one competition?
Right, absolutely. I mean, we are cut from a different cloth. Like him and I, our backgrounds are totally different. Who we are different. You know, how we communicate is very different. So I think for me, it was, well, if she's into him, how is she into me? You know, and that made it harder.
Right. Like,
that made it harder.
Like if I was on a dating show and someone seemed to be like into Jonny Fairplay and into me, I would question the woman's like integrity. I'd be like, well, if she's into the fucking mullet-headed Jonny Fairplay and she kind of likes me, maybe I should just fucking bail out of this shit right now.
Yeah, and Trent, I mean, everybody, I mean, you can only – I hear you. We'll let that simmer for a minute.
Poor Jonny, God.
Yeah, sorry, Jonny. We'll circle back to that.
I do just fine. It's okay.
Yeah. No, I think that Trent more than anyone else, that you know, guys were saying the same thing. Like, we love Trent. He's hilarious. How can you not love Trent? But if she's in the Trent, what am I doing here? You know, and
because Trent was more of a joke around, not real serious type thing, and this is a serious type of show. I mean, we all love. We were talking.
I wouldn't even say that. I would just say that like I could never be as funny as Trent.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't be who I love hanging out with Trent.
We say that. Me, you know? We say that at the end of every episode. that you could.
Yeah, we didn't used to, unfortunately. We had Trent on once, and we're like, "Fuck us," right?
Yeah, Trent is a fun character. Trent is great television, and I could see Trent getting like on another TV show. But looking at you guys, and you're here to be a dad, etc. I could see why you would think that way about Trent from your perspective. You know,
do you think Trent's height worked against him more than anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Because it seems like she's into taller dudes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 6'8", Stuart's 6'6".
Oh shit,
Stuart's 6'6".
Much taller than I thought.
But Alan was 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". Alan went home pretty early.
You're 6'8".
Yeah,
I'm 5'7", but if you take into consideration my beard, I'm about 8'9".
No, I mean, like Trent, he's got a big personality, so he just appears taller. Like I never thought of him as like a shorter guy.
I don't think he's short. I just feel like it seemed, based on where these city dates are going, it seems like she's into taller dudes.
Yeah, and maybe that's so. I hope I can't complain.
How tall is Kristy?
5'6", I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think that your date, like, how do you think your date kind of summed up compared to the other guys? You know, Stuart has this adventurous date with the whole repelling thing.
Let's go through them in order, Matt.
Yeah.
So number one, we start with Trent's date with Dr. Tart, a couple psychologist. And I think Trent was doing the smooth talking tennis coach stuff. I thought he killed it.
I thought so too. However,
I think Trent's
from
killed
my
it
psychologist
every day.
wife, I have to say there was probably no psychology involved in this literally at all. It was giving directions and responding to them. So I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, crushed it.
And it out the end. Very important. Because we'll get to the last date. All right, next we have the Marcus date. He dressed as sexy Mr. Rogers for some reason. They got to the kitten's cage. I thought Marcus was overly excited upon seeing the kitten cage. I wasn't sure if that Kristy mattered once seeing the kittens. I will. My big takeaway from that date was Marcus had the monograms on his cuffs.
Yes,
I'm like, that's pimp as shit. I mean, that's so.
That was your takeaway.
Oh, that's pretty. I'm taking my fucking long sleeve shirts to the embroiderer tomorrow to get
Jonny Fairplay. I would not bang you. I am sorry,
dude. I like. Here's the deal. Like I must have been too busy drinking PBRs and like talking shit with Zack here because I didn't notice the fucking embroidered cuffs.
Oh,
quite frankly, I don't even know what a cuff is. But
I like that shit, man. That's some pimp shit.
Well.
So anyway, then Marcus purposely makes out with Kristy in front of the guys. Strategic move. Very impressive. Next, we have the Garry date. It's raining, of course. Nothing can fucking go right for Garry.
I know. Poor guy.
Also, he could have made it romantic, and he didn't.
No. So then they have the 16 Candles date. Peek behind the curtain. In high school, my nickname was Farmer Ted. I was not the guy that Molly Ringwald wanted at the end. I was the guy that bought Molly Ringwald's panties. So that was me. Farmer Ted was my nickname. Next up.
So they sat on the table. Is that a 16 Candles thing?
Yeah, that's the end of 16 Candles.
I don't remember that for some reason.
That's the very end of 16 Candles. Molly Ringwald has the date with Jake, and they sit on the table.
Okay, it looked really
once
dumb.
Again, I'm Farmer Ted. I bought the panties.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll come up with the story. My story is much better than whatever happened with Molly Ringwald and Jake, I assure you. Right. Next, we have Marcus playing mind games with you, Kyle. And I noticed, based on the intel we got last week on the podcast, that not only was Marcus attempting to mind fuck you, he was feeding you his prestigious bourbon as he did it.
Oh, yeah. So that's a great. I was going to mention that, and you caught it. First of all, I'm not a whiskey drinker. I drink.
No one should be.
And Marcus came to me because Marcus brought quite a few bottles of very, very nice bourbon. He brought a lot of things with him, and one was a small case of really good alcohol. And he's like, "Hey, I really want you to try this." And he came out and poured me like a sampler and gave me like, "This is the spicy one." And I knew like, all right, well, he's setting me up for something here. Let me go ahead and get one of these. And you could tell on that last picture when he walked away that I had quite a few. But the whole time I was like, man, all right, here we go. Feed, give it to me, Marcus. Like it was funny. He really played into that. Yep.
It was amazing gameplay. Like I'm sitting there as a Hall of Fame Survivor strategist.
Right.
Like, this motherfucker's making me proud right now.
Even his conversation with Garry after Garry's date, where he's like, "Oh, I really love seeing that." That's him setting up Garry to try to get get him on board with him and Trent too.
Let me ask you this. I mean, looking back, you were in the house, okay? So you obviously, I'm assuming at this point can read people pretty well. Do you think that Marcus truly, like, aside from gameplay, do you think Marcus had feelings toward Kristy?
Yeah.
Legitimate feelings? Because I know that, yeah, he's got experience in playing, like, I'm going to make it to the end. But for me talking to Marcus, I mean, we were on my patio last week, and I truly believe, like, he really has feelings toward her,
Yep.
And that's got to be hard, like you said, like dating a chick that all your roommates and your bros are dating.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah.
And I think like he differentiated the dating with Kristy with the house play. And I absolutely feel like he had feelings for Kristy, and I don't doubt his intentions at all. And I think Marcus was there for the right reasons, but he also knew the game so well that like when you're back's to the corner, you go to what and I don't blame him at all. It was smart. And there was a lot of, like it is what it is, but looking back now, it's like, wow, he was playing chess, like right about now is when I really figured out like what Marcus has been up to, but I think he had feelings for Kristy. Absolutely.
So I want to go switching gears. I want to go back to the very first episode of the show. What was it like jerking off into a cup on the sperm test scene? Because that like as me watching, like I'm all about
resume dates.
I'm all about doing wild shit, but I just want to ask you, like, what was that like? Like if I'm on this show and like the first fucking challenge I have is like, okay, go into this trailer, masturbate into a fucking cup. Yeah. Did that completely throw you off guard? That would be really awkward for me personally.
Like, you mean literally? How did I do it? Like,
no. I'm just no. I know what you. I know. I know what you did. You searched some shit on your phone.
Are you a pinkies out kind of guy? Or?
No, I'm just asking you, like, how crazy was that? Like, was that really very awkward to do on a national television show?
Yeah. For a few different reasons. I think the main one being that this is season 1. Like, if I would have saw the first 6 episodes and I see that, the show isn't raunchy, and
right,
I would have been comfortable then having faith that they're not trying to make us look, bad or raunchy or whatnot.
Right, of course.
But at that time, we had no idea what we were getting into. We had been there 2 hours, and
2 hours in, and they're like, "Go jerk off," and you're just like, "I signed up for the wrong show."
I had faith in what I heard or what I thought the show would be, and it was a real check. Like, do we trust what they say this is, or is this going to be something? And there was guys saying like, "Was there a camera in there?" And are they going to? And rightfully so, man. So to me, it was more like knowing what I know now, it wouldn't have been as unsettling at that time, but it really was because we just honestly didn't know what we were getting into.
Well, as a viewer, I mean, as a viewer, we're watching this and I'm like, holy shit, like I didn't expect that, and I understand why they did it. And now looking back on the show as a whole, it's a very important piece of the puzzle of what is going on. But I was like, holy shit, this is a pretty gnarly challenge. Like I guess it's not a challenge, but it was pretty freaking gnarly, man.
Matt, does that change your opinion on Booge at all?
My opinion on Budge has not changed. What was your opinion on Budge? Because we've been podcasting about this show. And when we had the like glamping date, right, with the bear and all that stuff, and he was like, man, I'm not into camping. I'm not into this. I was like, man, this dude is freaking lame. Like, you're on a dating show. Be a team player. What was your opinion of that guy? Dude,
you're good.
You don't even. Okay, so look.
No. I'll tell you. Like,
real quick, Kyle. There's a phrase in Latin called "cum tacet clamant" that translates "silent they speak."
Yeah.
Continue.
I just kept asking myself, like, what the hell are you doing here, Budge? Like, and I understand that he comes from a level of comfort that he didn't grow up in. And so like we get in the house and I'm just blown away by this mansion that we're in. We got our own gym downstairs. That's awesome. And he walks in, he's like, this isn't good enough. The dumbbells aren't big enough for me, and I just didn't relate to it. And so, what they showed, that was Budge. Like he was the whole time, I think, questioning, why am I here?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've showed the whole series of us podcasting about this. I have talked about my hatred toward that dude, but that's another whole thing. So listen, we go to Stewart's Date. Go ahead, Johnny.
Real quick, Matt. So like when they have the jerk off challenge, and you have Charlotte from Sex and the City, like were you just like, is Samantha going to come out next? Like where? Like this is taking a turn that I did not expect. Because Kristen Davis, the character of Charlotte, epitomizes what I think labor of love. She is the innocent Sex and the City.
Right. And like that gave me some confidence that this wasn't going to turn into something that we didn't want it to.
Yeah. So then they have jerk off booths, and you're just like, ooh. So Samantha.
Did Alan talk about like how that trailer rocked and all of that? Did any of the guys talk about that you had on?
No, please tell us.
Oh Lord. So like. All right, so, you saw the trailer and there was like 5 stations and they did a nice job like sanitizing in between, or whatnot. But it's just like a little Winnebago on the inside where the bed's only 4 foot long and I'm 6'8", so I don't even fit on the bed. So I had to put my legs up like a dead bug. And then you could feel the trailer rocking with the other.
Like another dude jerking off.
And talk about like a mind, like trying to zone that out and handle your business. I didn't know if I was going to like be able to do it, like it was, that was
so what was more awkward, you jerking off in the trailer or the horns behind you and that painting in the background right now with
This is Texas right here, guys, like
I love it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen or heard the comedian Norton?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jim Norton had a 3-way with Ron Jeremy one time. And while they're having a 3-way, like, Ron Jeremy's doing more work than Jim. And he was like, I could feel the thrust from Ron. He goes, it's very intimidating.
I think I had Alan next to me and it was something, man.
So Kyle,
317 million. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I felt like I could, just like, give me a couple, like just throw a couple in here.
And would you say the worst part was getting high-fived afterwards? But what was it? Was it?
Yeah, Jim? I didn't get that at all. I walk out and like everybody wants to high five me. I was like, no,
no.
And
I don't know how you guys
masturbate, but
I use my hands.
yeah, I did both, and
both hands.
Well, I mean, look at him.
You don't fist bump either one. You let him go.
Well, dude, so we see Stewart going on a date. He goes on this adventurous date where they go rappelling, which is totally a total train wreck. And I was telling Zach, I went rappelling one time, Jonny Fairplay, and I got my beard ripped out a huge chunk because my beard got wrapped in the rope. So when they're rappelling, it brought back like, PTSD of my rappelling accident. Are you kind of, Kyle, when you're looking at these dates, you do the aerial yoga, Stuart does the rappelling thing. How do you think that your date sums up compared to the other guys as far as a connection that you have with Kristy?
That's a great question. Like at the time, I was a bit jealous. Like Trent got the Six Flags date where they shut down.
That was a good date, but
that was solid.
But his follow-up date sucked with Dr. Taunt. So
like I was an athlete. I'm a veteran. Like I was, like for Alan's date, you got to drive a tank. They had a Hummer come and pick him up. The Hummer pulls up. I'm like, oh, this is me. Yeah. Like rappelling. Like I want to do something physical. And that never happened. My dates were much more low key, but I think because of that, it was easier to make a connection. And then I didn't realize until about now that like I can go rappelling anytime,
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be the worst date in the world for me. I'm not a fan of that. Like I repel women daily. I don't need a rock to do it.
Well, Matt, can you talk about rappelling on your beard? Because you're telling me a little bit of that story, and I want to hear the rest of it.
Yeah, so there was a time I was at the Red River Gorge. I was not a rappelling professional. I was there with a bunch of amateur rock climbers and rappellers, and I was rappelling down a rock. And it was literally just like on the show, the rock comes down, and then you do you push off the rock, and you free fall down to the bottom of where you're rappelling. When I did that, a chunk of my beard got caught. There's like a 8-ring, so the rope is going through this 8-ring deal, and my beard was literally caught, all raveled through this 8-ring and the rope. And I was like, "Hey guys, can you guys pull me up? My beard's caught." And they're like, "Dude, we can't pull your ass up." So I was literally panicking. I was taking the rope and I was pulling up to try to get my body weight off. And I finally was like, look, if I grab the rope and I pull it away from my face super hard, my beard has got to just unravel. Well, I did that, but my beard completely just ripped out of my face like a big chunk. And I rappelled to the bottom, and I went into my tent, and I was like so depressed. I was literally almost crying because I lost like 1/4 of my beard. So that's the last time that I've ever been rappelling. So Jonny, if we ever go to an event and there's a rappelling challenge, I'm going to have definitely post-traumatic stress disorder on that.
I will challenge you if I want that for immunity, and then I beat you because you're just going to puss out. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for the intel, Matt.
But notice it wasn't the dread beard. It was the regular beard.
Yeah, it was when I just had it. Before I had this, I got a really long beard, dude. Like if you haven't seen, it's like, longer than Jonny Fairplay's flaccid wiener. But Marcus,
I'm no Pepsi can Matt.
No, Pepsi can Matt. So Kyle, it's elimination time.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead, Fairplay.
Let's real quick. So you, Kyle, you did aerial stripper yoga. I know.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of aerial stripper yoga, or and I don't know that I felt like they left the middle part out.
No, I had never thought I would do aerial yoga. It's definitely not for my body shape. I thought they won't really want to embarrass me on this one.
Yeah. I'm looking at that going, I need one of those for my bedroom.
Yeah. You know what? I would do it again. I highly recommend
without the cameras. Or
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, personal cameras, not Fox.
You can get creative. I mean, we were upside. Yeah, it was cool. No, it was a good time.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I don't know if you're aware of this, but Portland, Oregon is the strip club capital of the world, and there's a few of those worked in.
Had no idea.
Yeah, very, very good. I of course would know that information, and that's
Yeah, Kyle, can I ask how long were those dates? It seems like, most episodes we got like 1 or 2 dates an episode. This time, all of a sudden, it's bang, bang, bang. How long were these?
Up until this past episode, they did 1 in the day and 1 at night. Okay. And by the way, Kristy's schedule was intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing that she's still walking right now. Like she would be up at 5 a.m.
That could be translated to somebody different.
But so like it would be like a day date and a night date, and that's how it was split up. Now that there's quite a bit less of us, I think they were, I was maybe like 4 or 5 hours, I guess it was. I think my date was probably 4 or 5 hours. It was quite a bit, like we did aerial yoga for, an hour.
That's significant. Yeah.
And then they let us hang out and talk. And as long as we were engaging and having a good time, they just kind of let us go, So the last episode where they showed us, kind of making out the whole time, that was 45 minutes probably, just that, it was quite a bit.
Oh wow!
Let us go.
What about when you just brought Kristy up to your bedroom and you were feeding her things while she was blindfolded? How long did the producers give you for that?
Oh man, that's a whole episode in itself right there. Like that.
Yeah, that was a good move. That was a really good
move. Strong. That was thus far in the show probably the strongest move.
And I got a lot of crap from that. Oh, how did you get? I was like, guys, they give us a grocery list every night.
Just ask.
Took it last. And
like production,
hard, guys.
Production doesn't want a moment like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's on them, not you.
That was a big night for me for 2 reasons. One was I learned that you can control your own destiny if you're creative. So like I came up with the idea and I said like, here's my idea. Here's what I want to do. And here's how I'm going to get away with it. Like I'm going to put my order on the list. You guys go to the store every day. You just got to pick up a couple things for me. That was Budge's room. Budge had just went home. Budge had his own room. I said, I could go up there and set it up. Nobody goes in Budge's room. You just, you know what I mean? So and then Kristy didn't get to pick that date. Like it was like me taking her on a date. Instead of you both like showing up and just doing whatever. But then also we were in this little room and there was, and not to talk too much about production, we got five cameras and sound guys and the producers.
Sure.
And we're, her and I are like this, but then you can't see everybody else's right here. And you're trying to, and that was when I like stopped being nervous. And I was just like, you know what? It doesn't matter about everybody else in this room. It's just about us. And it doesn't matter what I look like. I'm going to make a fool out of myself anyways. So to me, like that was when I started getting comfortable. And I think like my real personality came out more,
Yeah. That was big. So how long do you think that date went?
Probably an hour. Like we had like we did a lot of cool stuff. Like we did a wine tasting. We had 5 different glasses of wine and she tasted it and tried to guess, what type of wine it was. There was a lot more.
Good on you.
That's good stuff, Kyle.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Yeah. Take note. Yeah, take note, man.
Yeah, there you go. So before we go to eliminations, you end the date basically by saying that Marcus is there to win the game and not your heart. In so many words.
Wow, man. I wish I would have had that line. That's a good line.
Well,
we should have did this before. I think
I've been on a few shows. Kyle.
Yeah, I think to me it was more like I don't doubt his time with. I didn't want to take away from his time with her because that's what she sees, and I can't convince her, and I'm not going to try to convince her.
And she doesn't like receiving bad news.
She doesn't like it,
She is very against getting bad news from anyone.
And I told her before I said that, I was like, I don't want to tell you bad things about the guys, but if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. Like, I'm not going to not answer a question. Like, this means more to me, And that's kind of how we got into that. But I think my thought of that time was just like, I'm not going to take away from your time with Marcus, but there's definitely like manipulation and the game going on in the house, and I didn't even know like what side was up and down at times. You know, like, does he like you? Like and he wasn't the only guy that did that. There was a few guys that would walk around the house and act like they weren't interested in her at all, just so they didn't have a target on their back. You know, like I think once once Angelo went to Kristy and, you know, talked about the other guys, that was like a big red flag. Like, you can't have a target on your back or someone's going to talk about you, you know?
Wow. Okay. So, and lastly, before eliminations, I think everyone made out with Kristy during their dates, but you.
What's that?
I think everyone made out with Kristy on their dates. Those, you know, this set of dates, but you, because she said,
in this last episode,
yeah,
because the conversation was intense.
Yeah. Once again, she does not like receiving back. like once you chose to give her that information about Marcus, you basically fucked your chance of making out with Kristy that night.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yep. And I don't know when the last time I was that nervous for that elimination. Like, I thought for sure, like, yeah, everything was great, but I may have just, you know.
It was a great date, and you felt like you conveyed some information that could potentially help you. But, you know, talking about it's just, you know, like maybe before elimination is just like, so how did your date go? It's like, pretty good. Did you kiss? And everyone's like, yeah, of course, you know. And then next, yes. And then you're like, ooh, okay, there's eliminations, and I didn't kiss.
Yeah, you nailed it. Like, all of those things, you know. Like, I went into that date thinking like, I'm not going to talk about any of the other guys. Like, she had already made it clear that she did not want to talk about the other guys, the bromance thing. I mean, like, I would put myself in her shoes. Like, if I'm her and all the guys are kind of having a bromance, or, you know, like, how the hell would I feel?
Yeah.
But then, you know, like,
but it's also like she doesn't understand that you have to live with these people.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, you could not have a romance and have the worst 2 months of your entire life with people that you can't, you know, it's just like, you know, hey, you know, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here. And it's just like, yeah, but we have to live together, motherfucker.
Yeah. Alan was the perfect example of that. You know,
huge. And I don't think she grasps that whatsoever. And I understand her point of view, but at the same time, she doesn't understand the other point of view at all. And it's just like, I have to live with these people.
Oh man, I felt so bad talking to Alan when I got to.
No, Alan is just
what an A+ guy,
classy dude, and yeah. So Alan, Stewart, and myself were all roommates, and we spent a lot of time together, and you know, like, and we became. I mean, we're still good friends. I've been to LA 4 times in the last year to hang out with those guys. Nice. You know, like, and I felt like Alan was like true to himself, and you know, like. But he taught all of us a hard lesson right then, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
hey, make sure he gets his hands on that sperm trophy. He's been trying to leave it behind everywhere he goes, and I want him to have it. That's on the mantle, man. Put it there.
Man, the conversation that we had after that elimination was like, Alan will never buy a drink in a bar for a year after the show airs, and COVID kind of ruined that.
Ruined it.
But we just thought for sure, like, this guy, you know, like, it doesn't get better than that in terms of like walking into a bar. You know?
No, Ozzy Osbourne said he'd love to have that on the fucking mantle. So,
that's the best compliment of them all.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So let's head to eliminations.
Garry is up first, and she's kind of fake crying.
No, not yet. We find out first. Stewart's in. He's in. In. So instead of on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, we have hometowns. On Labor of Love, we have city dates. Totally different. Nothing similar whatsoever. So on our first city date, we're going to Los Angeles, baby. And Stewart is in like Flynn.
Well, when I'm going to compare Stewart in LA and Marcus in Cincinnati, I might just go to Los Angeles. I'm gonna say I'm very sorry to Marcus, but
yeah. So we find out Los Angeles is first. I get it. So next up, go Matt. You were saying with Garry.
Yeah. So Garry, she's crying, which she really was. I didn't really see any tears. I just don't think she's like super into him. She sends him home, and Garry is under the impression that, man, this is one of the best dates of my life. That's the thing that's crazy is like Garry and Trent and a lot of these men that are on these dates feel a certain way, but then we end up finding out that, Kristy is not feeling the same way that these guys are feeling, which has gotta hurt.
There was not one, and I mean to cut you off, but there wasn't one guy that came back from a date and was like, like every single guy came back like that was the best date I've ever been on, and they went home after. It was.
Do you think
it was hard because I never felt comfortable the whole time.
Do you think she was just all in on every date and it was just like, hey, I'm here with that person. I'm going to give myself to that person for these 4 hours and then reflect back afterwards? Or do you think there was, potentially a little fakeness to it? How does someone put what perception wise is all heart there on each and every date? What's your read?
Alan's date for me watching that was those were the questions I asked myself a lot, because like I can tell the triggers there, like when he talks about the other guys, she really didn't like that. Like that's real, but then he still came back like that was an excellent date. And I think that,
well, I think he could have sealed the deal that night. Like he's the one that turned her away like she was ready for a nightcap.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No. And that too. But I guess, like Kristy did an amazing job of a good example of this is day one, there's 15 of us and she would memorize not only our names, but our conversations to a point where like you feel like you're the only one there. Like she walked around and talked to 15 guys and then would come back and be like, oh, I talked to you about this and I talked to you about this. So everyone felt like they were the special one. Like we none of us ever felt like we were a guy in the crowd when we were on a date with her. So I think we all came back like that was the best date ever, where she might not have had those feelings, like she just, yeah, it was pretty incredible. I don't know.
Elimination time. Garry's up first. Like I said, she's crying, kind of like not really showing like physical tears, but she's just kind of not into Garry. Garry's bummed. She sends Garry home. I feel bad. I think Garry's a good dude, and I think that this probably truly broke Garry's heart. Would you say, Jonny?
I think he probably killed some animals and dressed them up in clothing when he got home and started step 4 through 8 of his serial killer ways.
Oh my God. He wasn't a serial killer, but after everyone said that for 6 episodes, they're like, he is finally a serial killer. He's
finally it. This is it. This is the making of it. This is the prequel to Dexter. It's great. Yeah, I'm very excited to see.
And then we see yourself, Kyle, up first. Kristy says, man, the problem with our date is we did not get to kiss. And so you guys got to kiss. Yeah, what was that moment like for you?
Oh man, that was the most, up until this point, like that was the most nervous I had been, because I thought for sure like she didn't like what I had to say. That was the first time I got we got to talk too. I've had a pretty smooth sailing up until now, and I thought for sure like this is it. And then we sat down and she's like, there was one thing that our date was missing, and I was like, ooh, I think I know what that was, And then she said, we didn't get to kiss. And I was like, yep. And then,
Oh, I would have had 4 things. I don't date much, Kyle. It's weird.
Did you worry about what sad boy troubadour Marcus might be writing about your kiss there as he's watching from the attic?
Yeah. or a song. I thought there's going to be a song about this, like me slurping or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have Marcus next week with this song? Is he bringing
You guys got to get him to play the song.
Oh yeah, I think he's been practicing.
Yeah, hoping so. So you got the kiss, and then we go up to Trent.
Whoa. Hold on. Before we move past Kyle on this, so we discover right here, if we didn't know before, Kyle's from Austin, Texas. So if I'm doing city dates, so we have Los Angeles, cool. Austin, Texas, one of the coolest cities in the world. So I was just like, I think even if she didn't like you, she wanted to go to Austin.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, had that going for you.
Yeah.
Next, we have Trent from Denver, Colorado. Maybe she didn't want to get high.
Well, dude, Trent, man, I mean, from my perspective as a viewer and having Trent on the podcast last week, Trent is cool as hell. I feel bad for him. I think Trent is a super entertaining, great dude, good television. I think his intentions are good. I just think in this scenario, it's not what Kristy was looking for. And unfortunately, Trent went home packing, but he did not go out with just a bad vibe. Like, he's like, no. It is what it is. And I think Trent, held his head high. And I feel bad for him, but it is what it is.
Yeah. He also had a good read on Kristy in that, usually he would get all negatives and then a positive at the end for the save. And tonight he got all positives and he's like, yep, here comes the now.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I could say about Trent was in the beginning, we didn't get a lot of time with Kristy. There was a lot of guys in the house. And I think Trent had fun with the antics, as we all did. Like, Trent's
it sounded like he enjoyed the camaraderie and the fun that not necessarily the fun that was provided to you guys, but the fun that he created with you guys.
Yeah. And it was fun. I mean, they could make a whole show of Trent in the jacuzzi. Like just in the jacuzzi. They can make a whole show of that. But like as we progressed and he got more time with Kristy, like we all saw like the feelings and Trent became a lot more serious. He's such a sharp guy, like I was proud of, like, I hated to see Kristy send him home because I really do like Trent, but I was proud the way that it went down because I felt like he walked out with his head high, and it showed like the real Trent. Like, Trent's such a good dude. He's got such a big heart. And, so that was tough.
We're big Trent fans over here. And then obviously Marcus is up next. Marcus, personal friend of ours because of the, we've been on Survivor together. Kristy questions his sincerity. Marcus gets bummed and starts crying. I really, truly believe that Marcus has feelings toward Kristy. Yeah. I don't doubt his feelings toward her at all. This is a crazy show when it comes to dating somebody with your bros. So yeah, she ends up keeping Marcus around. So next week it's going to be you guys going to
next week is going to be good.
Yeah, no, city dates, not hometown.
Yeah, city dates.
City dates.
I had no idea that was a thing. Like, I never watched the other show, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette.
Dude, me neither.
We covered one season. We didn't even make it. We tapped out before the end of the season.
Yeah, Kyle, this is literally the first dating show. Jonny Fairplay is like, Matt, we got to branch out from just Survivor coverage and please, let's do The Bachelorette. I did it for 2-3 episodes. I was like, dude, I cannot stand this.
You did 8, Matt.
I did 8. Okay, well, whatever. But I'm thoroughly enjoying watching this show.
Yeah,
we all right. Next week we have Los Angeles, Austin, and Cincinnati.
Oh
fuck, we're gonna look like a fucking joke. That's terrible. God damn it! They couldn't have any other middling city.
You had to go have a Greensboro or Raleigh.
Yeah. It's definitely in a third place on that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. I love that you guys are doing this. I think it's a lot of fun. last week, I work in franchise development, and I had to meet a contractor, a general contractor out on a job site. And, like, he's not the kind of guy that you would think was watching this show, and he didn't know who it was. And I get out of the car, and I got a mask on, and I got my hat on, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Oh, man, you're the guy from that show. I've seen you on TV a million times." And he was starstruck like I've never seen before. And, guy probably in his mid-50s, had been a contractor his whole life. And I thought, like, this is kind of cool that it's, it's branching out beyond, I think, the normal, like, bachelor and bachelorette audience. I think it's awesome that you guys are doing that. It's helping us.
No, we're having an absolute blast. I mean, Zach came over to my house tonight. I got a whole outdoor setup, and we've been just having a great time. Both of our wives are over here on the couch, like
nice,
like eavesdropping in on our podcast, and it's been great, man. And honestly, Kyle, like, after talking to you now, it's like, man, like your stakes are higher. I think you're a really cool dude, and
stock rose tonight.
It did.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to hate like any of the guys because I felt like they picked people that were just good dudes. Like
I think Marcus's villain edit started tonight a little bit.
Yeah. And he's a good dude. Like, it's hard, like.
Thanks for fucking over our friend.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I know Marcus. We're cool with it. We're pretty shitty friends. I know Marcus is working on trying to get you guys to Hearts of Reality.
I saw a text on that about today. What can you give me a little?
It's it looks like it's going to be, well, it's not looks, it's going to be in Margaritaville this year. It's August 6th through 9th, and Zach will be joining me there. So maybe we will be seeing you there. I know that you guys travel strong. I mean, like they're doing a scaled down version of Hearts Reality. It's still going to be a lot of reality stars, but less than, normally they have 150. And they're trying to scale that down, and you guys are asking for fucking 12 because you're assholes. So, but I know behind.
Are you on that list, or?
Yeah, you're on the list.
All right.
Booge is not.
Fucking Booge, come on, man.
Fuck Booge, man.
I was gonna say I'd buy every one of you bastards a beer except for Booge.
Yeah, Booge is not invited. So
I would love to meet you guys. That would be great. That'd be awesome.
I know behind the scenes they're trying to put some things together. Dude, Mick Foley's going to be there.
That's cool.
How fucking cool is that? So and Jonny Fairplay, Survivor legend. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So but yeah, I look forward to Margaritaville has these huge water slides. I look forward to using you as a raft because
you're 6 foot. Oh God, 6'8". Shit.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I just want to chicken fight with you again.
If you keep the mullet and give me something to hold on,
yeah. Oh, I was going to be the bottom part of it. Well, you know what? We'll go your way. You know what? Probably you.
I took you as a bottom.
Oh, thanks.
But Kyle, seriously, man, thanks for coming out on our podcast, being a good sport, dude. I can't wait to see how this all plays out. We're big fans of the show, and we're stoked. What's that?
2 episodes left. This is
I know.
The final stretch.
The final stretch. So, listeners, where can people find you on social media, Kyle?
Yeah, so my Instagram is just Kyle Klinger, at Kyle Klinger, and then Twitter is Kyle Klinger 05. So pretty easy to find. And follow you guys. I'm going to keep watching the show, man. This is great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Kyle's a helpful, awesome dude. He helped us find the bear guy, Parker Aylesworth, and he helped us get involved in this whole mix. So Kyle's the man.
Kyle is the man, and we will can't wait to see how this show turns out. So tune in next week on another episode of Labor of Love on the Survivor NSFW podcast. Cheers. Good night, you guys. Love you all.
Thank you guys.
If you like this, are you still recording?
You're good.
And if you like this, try us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/SurvivorNSFW. You get to join our secret Facebook group. We have a weekly Q&A. We have tons of bonus content. Try it for 1 month. That's patreon.com/SurvivorNSFW.
You won't regret it.